Hello, and welcome to Let My People Eat, a podcast that provides satisfying talk about kosher nutrition. Here we clear through the clutter of nutrition speak, arm you with the clarity and confidence to eat, feel, and be your healthiest every day. I am Jill Sharfman, a board-certified holistic nutritionist living in Los Angeles.
And I'm Dr. Andrea Moskowitz, a neuroscientist and psychiatrist in Los Angeles. I use my training and experience to integrate positive lifestyle changes into my patients' lives.
Hey, Andrea.
Hey, Jill. How's it going?
It's going well. I have a question for you. Before you met your husband, Shlomo, how many guys did you go out with?
A lot. Because I was a little older when I got married. And when I started dating, I figured to myself, you know what? It's a numbers game. So I wouldn't say I would go out with everybody that was suggested, but I went out with, even if I felt like, I don't know, I don't think so. I tried not to be picky at all. And I just figured like, okay, I'll just learn something, or at least I'll be, and what happened was at the end of it all. So I did meet him, which was great. And also I became very quickly a lot less nervous about dating and meeting new people like that and everything else.
Yeah. That's great.
So
I think
I lost count.
I think probably by my estimation, I probably went out with close to 100 guys before I re-met Aubrey. We had met before, which is a point that our guest today talks about in her new book. So we'll circle back to that. But Aleeza Ben Shalom is known as the marriage-minded mentor. She is the author of Get Real, Get Married, Your Guide to Getting Over Your Hurdles and Under the Chuppah. In addition to her private and group coaching sessions, Aleeza is a passionate speaker. You might also recognize her from her appearance in episode 5 of the popular show Soon by You. Hi, Aleeza.
Hi there. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks so much for coming on. So we're in very unusual times right now. Corona has definitely impacted the dating scene. I have a daughter myself who's, as they say, in the Parsha, and she's been here with us in LA. She hasn't been in New York. So that's definitely affected her dating and how that whole part of her life is progressing right now. It's almost a little bit on hold. So do you want to talk a little bit about like what you've seen now with Corona and how that's changed the landscape?
Yeah, absolutely. So in March, everybody kind of came to this screeching halt. It was like we were all going, and we weren't going like 60 on the highway. We were all going like 95. Everybody's racing down the highway, dating and meeting and mingling and events. So many things were happening. And in March, it started to be like, I think there's a traffic jam. I think so. Wait, maybe I think we should cancel the event. Are we having something? Can we do it? And we had all of these events lined up. I know for singles, they had many things on their calendars. They had, weekend retreats and daytime dating and nighttime. And it was just popping and happening. And then everybody got slammed. And middle of March, it was like, okay, we're done. And the whole dating world went into a shock. It was just, now what? And everybody, at first it was like, we'll just go on hold, quarantine, lockdown, like it's fine. In a month, it'll come back. We'll be okay. And a month went by and it wasn't okay. And a month and a half went by and it wasn't okay. And everybody's wondering, what do we do now? And how do we handle this? So we quickly adapted. Me, myself, our team and all of the matchmakers and people that we work with and all of the singles adapted, and everybody basically hopped on the online Zoom train and started doing events online. Yep. And so there was speed dating online. I've seen different groups been running for the past 4 months. We went from all of our in-person events. I used to do events in Brooklyn and Chicago and all over the States and Israel. I had plans to be in Israel in the middle of March. And we said, okay, we can't do that. I guess we're also going virtual. So I started doing webinars. And instead of having 50 or 80 people at a live event, we started to have between 150 to 300 people at a webinar online, and then another couple hundred people watching replays. So what we thought was going to be this devastating loss to the dating world and that we couldn't go about things normally turned into a tremendous blessing, because we were able to reach so many more people.
So, so now that people, so you're doing your webinars, but people are also dating online. What are the benefits of online dating? Because, people are looking at it as like, okay, I don't have a choice. I need to be online to date, but there are actually advantages to doing online dating.
One of the big advantages is that people are a little bit more open to distance and location. They're like, if I can't meet the boy or girl next door, who cares where they live? I don't have to pay for a date. I don't have to go out. I could sit in my pajama bottoms. I only have to be presentable from Zoom up. And I might be more willing to give somebody a chance that I normally would have said no to. So that's one of the benefits. It does seem in the beginning of dating, it does save us all a lot of time and money. So people aren't, you travel to your room, you set up your little area, and it doesn't take as much time to prep to get ready, and you don't really have to go anywhere. And in terms of money, again, it's, a lower investment. Everybody's doing things from home. So those things have worked out well. And I think the ultimate benefit is that people are more relationship and marriage minded. Where before it was like, I'll go to an event tomorrow, next week. Don't worry, I got something on my calendar. Oh, I'm looking forward. This thing's happening again this year. I'm going to go finally. Where people were just ready to meet new people all the time. Now it's like, okay, I'm done. If I'm with my family or I'm living alone or whatever my situation is, I don't want it to be like this. I want my person and I want them now. So there's been a tremendous motivation shift that started to happen.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting. So you actually wrote a book called Virtual Dating, which was I'm guessing the COVID thing, did it really launch that, or was it an idea that you had before?
The COVID thing definitely launched it. I had been thinking about writing another book. So my first book, Get Real, Get Married, came out in 2013. And I'm like, okay, in a couple years, I'll write another book. And I was waiting for the right topic, the right moment, and everything. And when we started doing webinars, one of our webinars was called I'm Virtually Yours. And I was like, ooh, virtually yours. Like, oh, this is a book. This is a really good topic. And I talked it out with my husband because he knows it takes hours and hours to pull something together and months. And he's like, look, it's a webinar. It's good enough. And I was like, no, it's not good enough. I need a book. So I really pulled together a team to help me pull the manuscript, since we started in May with writing, and between writing and publishing and layout and graphic design and everything, it's coming out, September. And so it's a really fast production, but it's phenomenal. It is so packed with everything you need to know about virtual dating, because virtual dating is not online dating. Virtual dating is not long distance dating. Virtual dating is something new that has not been done before. It involves long distance, maybe. It involves online also, but virtual dating actually took us to the next level of, well, wait, what date number are you on? And they're like, well, I've been on 3 virtual dates and 2 in-person dates. So I don't know what number we're at. Are we at 5 or is it really only 2? It just is, it's very different. It's a very different world.
So Andrea and I were fortunate enough that you sent us an advance copy of the book, and it's so good. And it's not really just, limited to virtual dating. There were a lot of just very good basic pieces of information for anybody who's entering the dating world. Like I love the Google yourself directive that you put in there, that people should look when they put their name in, what comes up. And sometimes you find nothing, which is also in this day and age, you're like, not even a LinkedIn profile.
Why is there nothing now? Like there should be something. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I think even if somebody's not virtual dating, I think just there are some very good basic directives in the book, or, even thinking about when you do put something online, let's say somebody's saw you at Sinai and it asks what you're looking for, that you actually have to go through the exercise of writing your profile and what you really want it to say, because a lot of them sound very redundant. I want Simchas HaChaim. I want a girl who's going to grow with me. They sound very redundant.
They all sound the same. So when you're looking at somebody, you're like, well, how are you different from the last 5 people I looked at? And how would I identify you as my bashert? How would I know that? I mean, you don't sound any different than anybody else. And what you're looking for, oh, you're all looking for a mensch and a ben Torah and somebody, ben midos. And I'm like, okay, great. But what else do you want? What do you want? It's not just what do you want that's different, but how can we say it so that it sounds different? Even if it's the same as everybody else, how can we create language that is not used normally to describe what you're looking for so that somebody could get a better hint of what you're looking for?
Right. No, I mean, if somebody was doing this not for dating, they were doing, let's say, for a job, it would be the same type of thing. Like, how do you make yourself stand out of the pile of resumes that might be on somebody's desk? So it's actually, I think people gloss over that. And I think you pointed out in the book that it's very important that you go through that exercise and figure out really what you want that paragraph to say about you. So I asked my daughter, she had a question for you. And her question is something you address in the book about dating detox. Like, things right now are a little crazy. And if somebody wants to step back and say, you know what, I don't think I want to date right now. It's, she's here in LA, she's not in New York. I think some shadchanim have a very negative view of that. They don't understand why somebody might want to take a break or step out of the arena for a little bit. And then kind of maybe somebody will fall off the radar if they don't stay in the game.
Right. So to me, I always tell people the quickest way to get married is sometimes to stop dating and do whatever else it is that we need to do. So if you need to take a dating detox and take a break, do some reflection, kind of go inward a little bit and just stop the whole process, then don't worry, it won't slow the process down. It has the potential to speed it up. Because if you keep going at such a quick pace and then you burn out, then we're taking a break and doing a detox anyway. So if we can ward it off, then it doesn't catch us off guard. And it's usually really refreshing. People come back so much more whole and more complete and more ready to handle whatever the process is going to look like for the next number of days, weeks, months, that it pays to actually do a detox.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So do you think shadchanim understand that? I mean, from the people that you've worked with, so I
haven't. I hear you maybe think it doesn't sound so good. Mm-hmm. As long as it comes from a healthy place of, you know what, I just want to I want to just take a break. I've been doing this for a while. I want to, whatever the language is, I want to, I need a vacation. I want to clear my head. I want to just clear my plate and start fresh. I haven't had an issue. I work with a lot of shadchanim. I also train a lot of shadchanim. And I think they're a fantastic group of people and they seem to be very open-minded. I mean, especially if it's like, well, Aleeza said I should do a detox, like that's the thing to do. Then I don't get a lot of kickback. But in general, I think just having open communication with a shadchan is really good. And to say, thank you so much for all of your help. I want to just go on pause. And I'll be back with you. Or if you're afraid to say I'm going on a dating break or doing it, like I wouldn't use the word detox with anybody else, but between the two of us. But what you might want to just say is I'm busy now. Okay. I'm busy means a lot of things. Mostly people interpret I'm busy to I'm dating, but I'm busy means I'm busy. It means I'm unavailable for you to set me up. When things change, I'll be back in touch with you. And then they check in and they're like, oh, are you ready? Are you still busy? You're like, no, I'm still busy. Okay, you're busy doing a detox. You're not busy dating, but nobody actually needs to know that information. So you could seem very busy and unavailable and in a good way, but you might just take a break and just use that as your language so that it's just common vernacular that people are comfortable with hearing and they're not uncomfortable with that.
That's great. I love that. That makes sense to me a lot. Something else that you mentioned is that everybody out there can be a shadchan for the person who's looking for a match. It could be a neighbor, it could be the doctor, it could be somebody in shul, and that you almost have to create an elevator pitch where when somebody says, what are you looking for? Within 2 sentences, you should be able to say, this is what I'm looking for, because you never know where that match is going to come from. And it could be from the person you met in line online in the grocery store.
Right. Right. And I tell people, don't prejudge who has the potential to help you. Just because you don't think that they could help you doesn't actually mean that they can't help you. And being somebody who's friendly and sociable and easy to get along with, it makes other people want to help you. They're like, oh, you're so sweet. Oh, you're such a doll. Oh, such a mensch. Oh, maybe I know somebody. But you do have to pitch yourself. You do have to, for anybody who's shy or introverted or does not like these types of things, this is a little bit difficult. I had somebody recently and she just told me, Aleeza, same thing. She got an advanced copy of the book and she goes, I read through it. And she goes, I just want you to know, I told my car mechanic, I'm looking for somebody. She said, I dropped off the car. I met somebody in the day. I said, what do I have to lose? She said, I got to practice my elevator pitch. If they know somebody, they're going to recommend it. And if they don't, there's no love lost here. I made an effort and it was my job to, see somebody and then say something, and not to burn yourself out, but to be used to doing it so that whenever you see anybody, it's just kind of normal. And you just go into your here's my 2-minute spiel, and maybe they'll know somebody for you.
Right. And like Andrea said, it's also a numbers game, that you have to have, you have to spread your net, or you had a fishing analogy in the book too, that you have to spread your net very wide so that you do, increase your chances of somebody recommending somebody that will work for you. Right.
And I think, look, at the end of the day, how many suggestions do we need? We need one great suggestion. That's it. But who's going to make that one great suggestion? We don't know. So by expanding your net, we have a greater opportunity to review things. Now, it still might mean 90% of the things that you get in are not for you. I don't expect that just because you expand your net and you get more options. It's not like we go from, okay, if I have a small net, I have 2 options. If I have a large net, I have 10 options, and they're all going to be great. No matter how large or small your net is, there's out of 100 people, there's 90 people that are going to be totally wrong for you. 90 out of 100. The last 10, 8 of those 10 are going to be like, maybe. And 2, you're going to be like, ooh, could be that. Ooh, I like that. So out of 100 people, it's not like you're going to love every person that you're going out with and that this is going to be amazing. Sure. And just because we have such a wide net, this is such a great opportunity. It just means you've got a lot of filtering to do. So if you were doing interviews for a job, you'd have to get rid of 90 of these resumes pretty quickly to get down to those 2. So yeah, on one hand, we need the numbers. On the other hand, we really just need the quality, and we just need good people to help us.
Right. You in the beginning, I spoke about my husband. We had been set up when we were 22, and then he got engaged to somebody else, and I was doing my thing, and then we re-met when I was 20, when we were both 25, and then we got married, and thank God we've been married almost 29 years. But you also mentioned in the book that it's a good idea to go back through your Rolodex of maybe past dates and see.
Mystery in your history, my favorite. So mystery in your history is anybody from your past is a potential, and not just any of your previous dates. It could be the neighbor you grew up with next door. It could be somebody from a camp program. It could be anybody from anywhere in your history that you are like. People have their own Rolodex, and it's a gold mine. It is filled with so much potential. And I always tell people about 35% of the people that we work with marry somebody from their own list, from their history, where they're like, there's nobody, Aleeza, nobody, forget about it. If there was somebody, it would have worked out. And I'm like, no, maybe it was the wrong timing, or maybe that person got married and now they're divorced, or maybe you didn't see them as potential and now you do, or maybe they didn't see you as potential, or something shifted. And there's already, it's like a warm lead in business, like there's just potential there. There's a little spark of something. Could it be something big? It could. Is it nothing? We don't know. But instead of looking in the future, I tell people, first look behind before we go searching the whole world. Because if you already have the answer, why are we going to waste our time looking to the future?
Right. No, it's so interesting. 35% is a very big number. It's a third.
Right, it's a third, which means it's totally worth it to spend a week, 2 weeks evaluating that list.
So I have another question, because this is, I think, there's sort of a tension between these 2 aspects of things. So, on the one hand, as you were saying, you have your pool of 100 and you have to sort of winnow it down. And But on the other hand, how do you, at the same time, still be somewhat open to maybe meeting someone who you hadn't thought off the bat would have been someone you would have chosen to go out with, or, chosen to be with. You gave an example of that in the book. And I know, and a sort of a milder range. I'm a doctor. My husband's retired now, but he's was an attorney. And I always said, I will never date an attorney.
Me too. I said the same thing.
I said, I'll never marry an attorney. He's not a malpractice attorney, which I think that might have been a deal breaker, but right. He was an intellectual properties attorney. So that was much easier to handle. But still in all, as we were dating, I was saying, there was part of me saying, I can't believe I'm dating an attorney and I actually like him. So I
work with that all the time.
So that tension between, you have your things you're looking vision. For, or vision, or who you think you're attracted to, but and you can't date everybody, but sometimes maybe it is it isn't such a bad idea to go off list a little bit.
Okay. So this is a huge topic and I love it because on one hand, I love people to have their list. I want them to know what they want and I want them to be very connected to that because I believe that their wants and their desires are what leads us to the right person. In terms of balancing that out, we do have to have my values, my ideals, and then we have to have my reality. And the reality is this is the person that's in front of me. I have this nice dream human being who's over here in my mind, but that's just my vision. The reality is this person is a possibility. They're in front of me. Now they meet A, B, C, D, but they're a lawyer and I just didn't want to marry a lawyer. And I don't know what to do about that, but they seem like a great human being other than the fact that I'm not marrying a lawyer. So in coaching, we talk about it. We work through it. And I like to hash it out. I like to go back and forth. And I'm not a pusher for the sake of pushing, just go out, you'll figure it out, you'll see. If so many other things make sense, and this one thing doesn't make sense, I'm not telling you to like or accept the fact that he or she would be a lawyer. I'm just saying, why don't we give it an opportunity, knowing that we don't like the lawyer thing, and let's see what happens, because everything else seems to be in line. And so it's not smart for us to say no. If we just go according to our logically speaking, I might not want it, but everything else is nice, so I need to consider it. Now, if everything is not so nice, and on top of it, they're a lawyer, and somebody's pushing you, and you should go out, and I got to do you a favor, or a chesed, or a pity date, or one of those, I'm not into those. That does not work for me at all. But if we're waiting for this human being that fills all of our requests, then my question becomes, okay, so how long do you want to wait? So if you've already waited 5 years or 10 years or 15, I work with singles of all ages and all stages and all backgrounds. So 20s through 60s plus. My oldest client was 89, and yes, she met somebody, and I got great news. I checked in a year later. She's like, we're dating, honey. It's good. Don't worry. Everything's lovely and nice. But we really have to do a good evaluation and all I'm asking for people to do is to be reasonable. So recently I had a client and she is mid-30s and she has her range up into the 40s, but really late 40s is not her thing. And this guy was suggested and he was mid-late 40s and everything else was nice, but for the fact that he was mid-late 40s and there was no way she was marrying a mid-late 40s guy. And she said, Aleeza, you know what? I had a few options in front of me, but when I looked at it, I realized all these other guys were like potentials. Nobody had said yes. It wasn't actually happening. And this guy was the only one that had said yes now, today, that is available to date. And actually everything works out except for the age thing. And she said, what do I do? I said, you know the answer. And she's like, okay, I'll go out. And they've been on 2 very lovely dates. She's not happy about the age thing, but there's nothing else that's actually wrong with the shidduch. And she's still going out with him. And I don't know the end of the story yet, but it's those types of stories that often result in chuppah because it makes sense. And we have to go again. We have to have our vision. We have to be attached to it. And we also have to know what's the reality and who's in front of us.
I love that. I'm going to read a quote from the book that might sound a little old-fashioned to some people. So I want you to address it. You wrote, what I've noticed after working with hundreds of dating singles is that when women don't allow men to give, the men find someone else to give to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what does that mean? I know what that means. Andrea probably knows what that means, but I bet you there are a lot of young singles out there who don't understand. I mean, if they read the book, they will understand what you're trying to convey.
So in the modern day world, we have, women and women's lib and feminism and very evolved, educated, smart, sharp, wonderful, amazing women. Like, we are probably the most powerful women in the last, not hundreds, thousands of years. We are the most evolved that we've ever been. And at a certain point, we're so smart that we're doing it not so smart anymore. And we've taken away our femininity. We've taken away the essence of being a woman and also knowing how to navigate a relationship. So we don't want to be so strong that we just can do everything ourselves. Like, I have some clients that are like, Aleeza, I need a husband only because I want a husband. I don't need him. I earn enough money. I could even have a baby on my own. I have my family. I could do everything myself. But for the fact that I can't be in a relationship without having a spouse, I don't actually need somebody. And if you have that mindset, then you're right. You really don't need anybody. And there's no place for a give and a take. And a relationship has to be built on this giving and receiving. If you don't know how to receive, nobody else can give. And nobody feels good in a relationship. Like, oh no, I got it. I'll get the door. I'll pay my half of the bill. I'll do it. I don't need you. I got it. No, you don't have to walk me home. No, I'm not cold. I have my own jacket, or I don't need one. I'm fine. I'll tough it out. Like, when there's no way for somebody to give to you, then they feel useless and they don't have a purpose. And that relationship stays very immature because, only I can give to you, but there's no place for you to be a giver to me. So I love to teach women and men as well how to be receivers and how to make space for somebody else in the relationship and how to develop a relationship because it's built on giving.
Right. Rabbi Manis Friedman talks about that a lot in his series about the Kubal and what's the other one? I have to go back and listen. But he talks a lot about how just, from an evolutionary standpoint, that women are the receivers and the men want to give, and that we have to honor that, even as women, if we think we can do everything. So I think that's a really important thing.
The other twist to that is that by receiving, you are giving in the greatest way. You are giving somebody the opportunity to give. And so if you really want to be an ultimate giver, then you should practice being a receiver.
Right. Very, very true. Okay, one last concept. Date them till you hate them.
I love that one. So date them till you hate them. I sometimes say when in doubt, go out, or date them till you hate them. It basically means this. A yes is a yes. If you start dating somebody and it's a yes, it's easy. You like them. They like you. There's something good. You're going out for sure. A no is a no. I don't like you. I can't stand your personality. I can't look at your face. This whole thing doesn't work. I mean, it's no. Okay. Those are easy. Everything else is an I don't know. Everything else leaves somebody in the middle and they don't actually know what to do with it. They're like, what do I do? And so this is really like one of those universal rules of thumb, which it can be overridden if we're working together and there's a reason to stop dating or to move ahead. But if you just don't know what to do and you're unsure, I say date them till you hate them, because either you're going to hate them or you're going to love them. And I don't know which way you're going to go. And you just need more time. And we are in the modern world and dating goes like this and everybody wants to move so quickly. And sometimes you have to slow the pace down. And the quickest way to get the answer is to actually just date them. And either you're going to come to hate them and you're going to be like, oh, I can't stand it, Aleeza. I can't go out anymore. Please, I don't want it. And then you're going to know for sure it's not for you. Or you're going to go out and you're going to be like, that bothered me, but I kind of got used to it. It wasn't exactly my look, but I mean, I like, there's some nice features that I like, or the personality I thought was a little abrasive, but actually it's not. Maybe they were nervous or I was whatever. It didn't gel in the beginning. And so it just gives people an opportunity to see a relationship fully developed.
When I was dating, I was told if it's yes, you want to go out, then you go out again. If it's no, you want to go out again, don't go out again. But if it's maybe, then yes, go out again. So it's yes, right. Yes, no, maybe, yes. So,
right. Yeah. Okay. So the way that I say that is a maybe is a yes for now. right?
Yes.
Or I don't know. It's just a yes for now. It's not a yes, I have to marry you. It's just a yes for another date. Sometimes I tell people, in your mind, you are going on a minimum of 5 dates. Don't even ask. I don't even want to hear nothing, unless it's a flat out no. Just say yes to another date. You don't need no thinking about it. Don't process. And if you're going out and you're afraid, like, well, I might break up or I might not. When I'm working with my clients, I tell them, you have to call me. You have to break up with me about the relationship before you break up with them. If you could convince me and I buy into your thinking, then okay, fine, we'll move ahead. If not, I'll prevent you from making a mistake and ending it too early.
Okay. So I want to end on this because a lot of, people have very strong emunah and they believe that their soulmate is out there. And it's hard reconciling how much effort has to go into finding that person. So you write, I share all this because I want you to know that at the end of the day, it's helpful to remember that while your effort is important, I believe very strongly that you will find your soulmate or your soulmate will find you at the right time. So do make an effort, but try not to stress too much.
Yeah.
Yep.
I firmly believe that a person's soulmate, they're born, they exist in this world, they are here for them. It's the blueprint of the world, right? That so-and-so is for so-and-so, and one is sent down in this body, and the other one is sent down into that body, and then we play Where's Waldo, and we try to find them. And you can't sit back and go, but Aleeza, the world's made that way, so like, I don't have to do anything, I'm good, right? Like, oh, our parnasa is also determined at the beginning of the year. Does it mean that you're not supposed to work? You still have to do your work for it. And I know that when we do our work for it, we value it so much more when we find it. And we're also more motivated to keep it. Because if you work hard, when you find it, you want to keep it. You're like, I'm not going back out there again. No, it's fine, sweetheart. We got this. So it gives us a little bit of perspective on not just finding your soulmate. Because I tell people, I'm like, you think the hardest thing is to find your soulmate. But let me let you into a little secret. The hardest thing is actually to keep them, to stay married. In America, the divorce rate is over 50%. In the frum world, it went from 10%, it's up to over 20% now. And it is not a given that you're going to keep the person that you find. And what good is it to find them if you don't know how to keep them? So I encourage people to be motivated to keep them. And I think that this process kind of encourages us to do it, to keep them.
Wow, that's great, Aleeza. Thank you. If you want Aleeza's book, Virtual Dating, which actually has 900, or it was on your website, 985 questions to ask your date, right? Was that on the website?
Oh, that's on the website. Yeah.
On the website. So if anybody's worried about making conversation on a date, go to Aleeza's website, marriagemindedmentor.com, and you will see that list. So Aleeza, where can they get your book and when will it be available?
The book is going to be available in the first week of September, and you can go onto Amazon and you can find it there, or at marriagemindedmentor.com. There'll be a link and you can just click it and it'll take you right there. But pop in Virtual Dating, Aleeza Ben Shalom, and you're going to find it.
Great. We will put a link on our website as well so that you can, when you go to the Let My People Eat website, you can find a link there. So everybody follow me on Instagram at Let My People Eat. Aleeza, your Instagram is at
Marriage Minded Mentor.
At Marriage Minded Mentor. I want to thank our engineer, Mike Casantini at the Network Studios. We also have a Facebook group. Search for Let My People Eat on Facebook to join the discussion. You can ask questions and suggest topics you would like us to talk about in future episodes. Let My People Eat is proud to be part of the Jewish Coffee House, where you can find your fill of stimulating podcasts dedicated exclusively to Jewish content. We are also available on the Naki radio portal at nakiradio.com. Thank you so much, Aleeza, for spending time with us. And I learned a lot, and I'm going to share that information. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me. And your daughter should have a really easy time in Shidduchim and find the right person this year.
Amen.
Amen.
I will take that. And that is it for this episode of Let My People Eat. Please visit our website at letmypeopleeat.com and leave us a comment. Get in touch at our email at podcast@letmypeopleeat.com or call us at 317-659-0004. Post on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook with the hashtag #LetMyPeopleEatPodcast. If you like this show, please make sure to leave us a 5-star rating and review on iTunes. tell your friends and family, and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts.
And please remember that although we are certified professionals, this is not a medical advice podcast. No content, posts, or comments should be interpreted as professional guidance. Always speak to your own health practitioner about making the right life changes for you.
Until next time, I am Jill Scharfman.
And I am Andrea Moskowitz.
Thanks for joining us.
And go in good health.